Hello everyone, Andre Arons here alongside Grant Johnson today. And we thought we'd take some time to just chat about our journeys with our beloved national team Bafana Bafana throughout the years that have gone by, and just to give you some insight on where we've been, where we started, where we come from, and where we are now as a team. Grant?
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. I mean, Andre was a huge part of the Bafana team that won the AFCON in '96. I think that the current team is on a similar path at the moment. Obviously, some positive results over the last 3 years, and increased the standings of Bafana Bafana, and yeah, it all comes with results, I suppose.
100%. I mean, if we go back to 1996, I suppose a lot of people would have said that's where it started. And I look at the journey from that particular period and how we built the team to it. I'd have to say one of the leading components there has to be the legendary Clive Barker, because at the time Clive was very strategic in his method of choosing players. He believed that the team, in order to be successful, was going to need two quality players in every one position of the team. And as I said, he went about building that and identifying those players with a lot of precision, and he took his time to do that. And I suppose if we go back now and you look at the history and the results coming out of that particular period and the tournament building up to the Nations Cup in '96, you'd have to say that he was spot on really with his selection. But I think what he most looked for during that period is a mix of youth and experience, I suppose, at the time. He also wanted to combine that with the social factor, so players are different, and just to get the balance right of the team. I think that was one of the recipes for success over that particular period.
Yeah, and I think your team had cohesion and like you said, quality players in each position. I think a similar situation at the moment with Bafana Bafana. Hugo Bruce, over the last 3 years, I think when he first chose his initial team, when he took charge, everybody's eyes were wide open, wondering who is this team? Why has he left out all the big stars? And he went for a few younger players. So I think it was a surprise at the time, but over the last 3 years, he's taken away a few of those players, added a few here, added a few there, and I think we've now got a solid team that can compete with the best in Africa. And obviously we had a fantastic AFCON, and again, pretty similar to your team. We've got two good players, or sometimes even three good players in each position. So there's a bit more depth in the team. If one or two players are not available, we can always add one or two that have at least had a bit of experience before. So yeah, I think we had a good track. I think we got an amazing team spirit. You can see when the team comes together for camps, it's a good vibe, it's a good environment, almost like a family. The players are happy to see each other. So I think Hugo's done a great job, and him and Hellman, in building that team spirit and that vibe within the camp.
I think that's pretty evident to see when you're looking at the team from a modern day perspective. Let me ask you this question in terms of where the team was, the way the team lost its shape, or the way it lost its way, if you like, over a period of time. There was a bit of a downturn in terms of results, in terms of the quality of the player that was being selected, or availability out there for selection, if you like, at a time. Then comes Hugo Bruce, and he sort of transforms the team. Now, if I compare that to Clive Barker and the way he set out things there, if we remember correctly, the majority of the team was in an older sort of phase. There weren't any real youngsters coming through. If I remember, Mark Fish was the youngest in the team at the time, and he must have been about 23, 24 at the time. Hugo Bruce raised a few eyebrows when he, as you say, when he created his first selection of the team, and he went for very young players, and almost was seen to be discarding the older players at the time. Was he strategic in that thinking? Had he had his mindset on building a future national team, or was it about he felt that those young players were the players that were going to get him the results?
I think when he first came in, he realised the national team wasn't in a good space. The team hadn't qualified for AFCONs, hadn't qualified for World Cups. The results hadn't been going our way, and I think his idea was, if we continue with the same, we're going to get the same. So rather bring in youngsters, rather bring in a new bunch of players, and see where it takes us, rather than sticking with the players who we haven't had results with. So as much as he kept one or two players, it was quite a big turnaround in the team. Yeah. And that team that started the camps 3 years ago is not quite the same team that it is now, but there is 5 or 6 players that are the same. Yeah. And they're pretty much the spine of the team. The Ronwen Williams, Saborgo Mokwenas, those type of players have been there from the start. And there's a few more than that, but he's kind of stuck with it and grown that team and brought in 1 or 2 special players. And it's definitely worked. I think if you're just stuck with what was already there, we might not be where we are today.
Yeah, you mentioned, and this has been a topic on the minds and the lips of a lot of people in the country for a while now. And you specifically mentioned Ronwen Williams, and of course he's been the backbone and the last line of defence for a long time now. And then the country's been, in a good space for having Ronwen in that position. And I've been finding myself getting involved in this topic through media and that type of thing, in terms of where the state of goalkeeping is at the moment in South African football. Now, if we cast our mind back to our day when we played, and I look at my team, my time in the national team, and what I had to compete against. You could mention maybe 4 or 5 goalkeepers like Mark Anderson, Steve Crowley, yourself. John Tlali was there, Brian Beloy came a little bit later, Roger Dessau was there. So I found myself competing against at least 3, 4, 5 goalkeepers for a spot in the national team at the time. Is that the case with the modern game and Ronwen and the challenge for the goalkeeping berth at the moment?
I think obviously with Ronwen having played majority of the games over the last 3 years, Veli Motto has played 1 or 2 games, Ricardo Goss is playing 1 or 2 games, Chinese played a game. So the problem is that Ronwen has gone a bit ahead of everybody else because of the game time that he's had, the experience that he's had. He's played against top teams. We played France and got a bit of a hiding, but that was a learning curve for everybody. As much as you don't want to lose games like that, it was probably a good thing in terms of learning, and even for Ronwen, I think he became a better goalkeeper, and he's just got better and better as he's got older. The problem now we've got is that there's a gap between him and the others. Not because he's better than them, but it's because he's got more experience than them. He's played at the highest level. He's played at AFCON, got bronze medals. None of the other keepers had a game at AFCON. So that's why we've got the vast gap between him and the others. The other problem we've got is in the PSL, there's not a lot of local goalkeepers playing. So your choices are not very vast in terms of local goalkeepers.
It is a problem. And the one thing that I always also get asked about is, from a coaching perspective, when you're dealing with players at club level as opposed to dealing with players at international level, the way you manage or the way you manage these players or characters, if you like, is very different. Would you say that's something that Hugo Broos, I know that's something that Clive Barker got spot on when we were the national team. Is that something that Hugo Broos has been able to master with a group of players that he's got?
I think that's one of the big pluses with Hugo, is that his man management skills are impeccable. The players love him. They play for him. They want to get the best results they possibly can, and that's something that he's built over time. As a player, you've got to trust your coach. You've got to want to play for your coach, but you've still got to respect him. Yeah. So I think he's got the right balance in terms of the players respect him immensely, but they also feel comfortable in his space, and his door's open anytime. We can have a chat with him anytime. Yeah. I've never ever seen him shout at a player. He'll go up and stand next to the player and have a quick word with him on the training field. But that's about it. And I think that's what he's got right, the man management skills. And maybe it's experience. I mean, he's been in the game a long time, coached at many levels. He's had a gold medal with Cameroon at AFCON. So he's got the experience in the game. And I think that is his major plus as a coach.
A lot of people always ask me about what are about what are the recipes for success. And I always come back to the off-the-field support that is always very important to the success of any team. And I found that with Bafana back in the day when we were sort of around the 95, 96, 97 period of the game. And the importance of sponsors who come and support, whether it's financially, whether it is to get you to destinations, for example, just whether it is bringing families together of the players, because families travel a lot as well. And one of the sponsors that always come to mind for me was Castle Lager, and the massive role that they played in the success of the team back then. I remember so many events where, for example, during the AFCON in 1996, after every single game, we'd come back to the team hotel and Castle would be there and we'd be having a Castle, enjoying our time, or enjoying the success of winning that actual game, and created a real family environment. How much does that mean to a player after a bad result or after a good result, and knowing that the support is there?
I think it's a massive role, and you mentioned Castle. I think the last couple of camps now we've seen more involvement from them. They assisted with the chartered flights that we had to Uganda. Going forward, there's talk of them helping with more of those types of things. They want to get closer to the team.
And how much does that help a team actually?
No, it's massive. Just a chartered flight, you feel like you're part of a national team, rather than being just a normal passenger on an aeroplane flying to different destinations to get to your final destination, which can take you 2 days at times. So you feel a bit more important, having backing from a sponsor. You feel like you're part of a national team. The problem we've got is sponsors go with results. Everything's results driven. The national team now is getting support in the stadiums, support from fans. We're getting recognised everywhere because we're getting positive results. And I think sponsors follow suit. I'm sure back in your day, sponsors were falling all over the place to get involved with the national team.
100%. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I think it's just proof that it can't only be done on the field of play. There are little components like sponsors coming on board, like the fans coming to watch the games, saying hello to you in the streets when you're walking around, win or lose. I think that's that whole sort of kind of vibe that really needs every component to get us through the results that we need to get for our national team. Well, I certainly feel like we've had a lovely trip down memory lane, back from 96 all the way through to the modern game, where you, of course, are playing a pivotal role in terms of the technical staff that have been in charge of the team. So thanks for the chat. It's been fantastic from my side.
No, it's been fantastic. It's actually awesome to be involved with the team at the moment. Obviously, when you're winning games, it's easy, but the pressure's always there. I mean, you're only as good as your last game. So may this good run continue. We've got in March some big games, World Cup qualifier games. We're looking good in the group at the moment. So let's hope there's good things to come. And hopefully we can have some more chats. Maybe on the goalkeeping aspect, we'll get some chats along that line. But I look forward to giving the fans and the people out there some information how things happen in the background.
Brilliant, and thank you for watching. I think this has been a really informative kind of chat between myself and Grant, and hopefully there'll be lots more of that. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, thank you.